26 miles from home. And I picked the right school and I picked the right coach.
Willis was always a big guy, man. He was always a big guy.
A big, strong country boy.
Big old lumberjack guy, man. He could run down the court.
He could shoot the lights out from the outside. He was a physical presence. A fierce competitor.
Willis Reed was an enforcer. You drive the ball to the basket, and Willis would just stay back there and make sure that you landed up in the bleachers. Now, that eliminated any driving to the basket for the rest of the night. Because when Willis hit you, that was it.
I knew that I couldn't speak as well as the other kids. They would laugh at me all the time. Every time the teacher would ask a question, and I would know the answer every time, but I was afraid to raise my hand because I didn't want my classmates to laugh at me. So as a result, every day in the classroom, I would try to hide behind that guy in front of me. Man, I was afraid every day, all day long. Back then, the Air Force Academy would come around to black high schools and try to recruit people to go to the academies. They gave the senior class a test. Only 3 of us passed. The valedictorian, the next person, and Robert Earl Love passed the test. And it was a buzz around the classroom like you never heard before. Robert Earl passed that test. Robert Love passed that test. Oh, man, he stutters, man. He stutters. You're not supposed to pass that test. And I tell you, that was the most proudest moment of my life. I ran home when I was trying to tell my grandmother I was stuttering and stuff. And I finally got it out, and my grandmother said, Robert Earl, sorry to tell you, but you can't go to the Air Force Academy because all those airplanes fall out the sky. They may fall out the sky and kill you. So that turned out to be the best deal of my life. I went to Southern University down in Baton Rouge.
I played against Love in high school and in college because Butterbean was, I believe, a year behind me in school. Southern University was a big rivalry. Graham had beaten Southern every game.
Before I got to Southern, they were, oh man, they would beat us, they beat us like beating a drum. Gremlin came in, we lost all the time at Southern. And then the tables started turning.
They beat us that year. I mean, I was on the team that had to lose to Southern University. That's a big deal. I mean, I mean, those are true rivalries.
If you can get Bobby to focus on you and not that jumper, you might have a chance, but he was just plain smooth. He was, no other forward could stop Bobby. He had that fall-away jumper, and it was sweet.
Think that Michael Jordan and those guys could jump? Nobody could out-jump me. Nobody could out-jump me. I was a string bean, too. 6'8", man, 185, 190 pounds. Guys 6'9" would try to take a charge on me. I would jump right over their head. The head would go right between my legs, and I would dunk on them,
By the time he graduated from Southern, Love was averaging 30 points a game with 18 rebounds. Reed averaged 27 points a game with 21 rebounds. Both men were drafted.
There wasn't no guarantee that you were going to make it. Even when you got drafted, I went and negotiated my first contract, and they said, well, we'll give you $11,000 if you make the team.
Willis Reed is the only guy I ever scouted that asked for a rule book. And does that kind of set you apart?
1965. I was drafted by the Cincinnati Royals. Oscar Robertson was on that team, Jerry Lucas. I should have made the Royals. I should have made that team. But they had to have 7 white guys and 5 blacks. That was the quota they had to have. And I was the odd man out. And Robert loves stutters, so we're gonna look over here. My grandmother said, Robert Earl, there are no perfect people in the world. Everybody has a handicap, everybody has a disability. Everybody has a problem. It may not be the same problem, but it's the same problem. She said, but what you got to do, son? She said, you just gotta have a dream, and you gotta hold on to the dream. And I never forgot those words.
For Perry Wallace, the dream was to play for John McClendon at the historically black Tennessee A&I and follow in the footsteps of his idol, Dick Barnett.
I had courted Perry from the time he's 12 years old. When he walked in my gymnasium one day and I happened to be looking out on the floor, he didn't know what a basketball was because he was such a student.
My parents had grown up in rural Tennessee, only being able to go to the 8th grade. And what that inspired in them as they moved out into the world, they understood how important education was.
His mother made him an A student. Now, she did allow him to play in the band.
I played in the band, but in the summers, we'd go out into the gym and play basketball hours and hours.
He had these mammoth-sized hands, and he could actually dunk it. I said, well, that's great. He's still just 13.
And afterwards, Coach Hunter would have the other coaches like Ben Jobe, and they'd talk. They talked about sports. They talked about race in sports. They would let you into this fascinating world, and you felt you could count on them to help you along in it.
Years later, at Pearl High School, where the coach was Cornelius Ridley, who had a championship team, but they lost all their players. And he said, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do about some height. I said, well, why don't you get Wallace? He said, Wallace? Who in the devil is Wallace? He had never come out for basketball. So he went and asked his players, and they said, oh, yeah. I said, Coach said, he plays in the band. They went and got him out of the band. And he played the first year that the state of Tennessee allowed black schools to participate for the championship.
At center is Perry Wallace, number 42, 6'5".
This was a huge, huge event in the state of Tennessee, and it was reflecting other similar events across the country where integration was finally beginning to happen. There was such great anticipation and concern and threatening letters and calls and the like. And as the pressure grew, Coach Ridley underscored the importance of playing good ball, but not giving anyone room to apply the stereotypes of what black athletes and black teams are about.
We're ready to go with Nashville Pearl Memphis.
What this coach had found out was that Perry Wallace could squat vault and touch within 4 or 5 inches of the top of the backboard. Now, that's why I wanted him.
Do you like good music? That sweet soul music. Just loaded and screaming. Oh yeah. We are here on the floor, y'all.
We beat Memphis Treadwell High School and beat them pretty soundly, winning the state championship in Tennessee in the first year that the championship was integrated. We won the championship on March 19th, 1966, the same night that Texas Western beat the University of Kentucky, the very same night.
While Wallace was winning in the South, Pee Wee Kirkland was burning up the streets of New York.
was a product of his environment growing up in Harlem at that particular time. The behind the back, the between the legs. I mean, Pee Wee Kirkland was doing all this in the late 60s.
As far as I'm concerned, all athletic talent is a God-given reality. And I always knew mine was a God-given reality because of how fast I could catch on and how things that other people practice, daily, I would just do them one time and it became natural.
Kirkland was a playground legend. He took his game to a junior college in North Carolina, where he averaged 41 points a game before transferring to Norfolk State.
I was the passer, which was the strangest thing to everybody in basketball, because how do you lead the nation in scoring with a 41-point average in junior college, then come to another school and the coach said, we need a passer. At first it was kind of funny when he said it because I thought he was joking. So I said, a passer? He said, yeah. He said, we got guys that can make 9 out of 13 shots all day long.
Coach was hesitant about moving Pee Wee into the starting lineup because of his New York City style of play, between the legs, behind the back. But Pee Wee was smart enough to curtail some of that fanciness and play the game that Coach Fears wanted.
When I got on the court with Bonaparte and I saw Willie shot, and I got on the court with Danjib and I couldn't believe it. I said, they were Southern guys, but they could really play basketball. I mean, they could make it happen. So I became a believer.
Christmas time, we were averaging 110 points a game. They had an article on us in Sports Illustrated talking about this small college team out of Norfolk. Pee Wee Kirkland was the point guard, and I just have never seen better.
But there was another side to the streetwise kid. He was earning thousands of dollars a week off the court.
Trust me, my black college experience was non-traditional. The big diamonds, the jewelries, the chains. I was so successful at a young age as a result of life of crime that we'd be sitting in the cafeteria and you look out the door and you see maybe a Lamborghini, a Rolls Royce, or a Ferrari, all 3 cars sitting there waiting for me to leave the lunchroom.
But when Pee Wee showed up for practice, it was basketball. He was out front, leading in everything. So whatever his personal life was, he kept it away from us as a team.
You're talking about 2 different lives, 2 different realities. When I played, the crowd just took me places I figured I could never go in the game of basketball. Between the crowd and the coach, Pee Wee Kirkland was gone till the game was over. In the life of crime, it's hard to want to stay poor and unsuccessful when so many people around you have the money coming through illegal channels.
While Kirkland was living the life of a gangster off the court, Perry Wallace's dream took a turn. Instead of attending a historically black college, he entered Vanderbilt University and became the first black person to play basketball in the Southeastern Conference.
That was like, oh, a black guy? Going to Vanderbilt? And it's sort of, little things like that you took notice of. It would be in small print in the Richmond Times-Dispatch, but it sort of widened your horizon.
It had a lot to do with my own vision of what kind of world I wanted to live in. My mother worked as a maid and cleaning lady, and what